So I'm live in living color. In living color. How's everybody doing tonight? This is going to be my last show of the year, so came hell or high water. I was going to make sure I was here. Just to start out, I want to say happy holidays and good evening. Welcome to the show. As always, I thank you for spending your Thursday night with me. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Hank Batiste. I'm your host for tonight and the spokesman for the voices in my head. I'm also known as the Renaissance Man, or Rennie for short. My show, as most of you know, is called I Got Something to Say. So it must be true. Before I go any further, seriously, let me thank everybody for the well wishes. Um, this is my last show of 2020, and you guys have stuck with me this year. We've been through some things together. We made it through. Somehow we made it. So I was going to make this show come hell or high water. I should tell you that tonight's show is brought to you by Flexeril in this junk here. I won't even say what it is, but seriously, fighting kidney stones is like being in perpetual labor for days and weeks at a time. I haven't been talking much about it. I talked a little bit about my back. I thought it was just my back acting up. I thought I had overdid it at the gym because I've been trying to just do some of the things that the physical therapist had me doing. But in the interim, I found out that it wasn't just my back, that I was trying to give birth to more kidney stones. So with that, I said if I didn't pass these things by tomorrow, I was going to go in. Most of you guys that know me, and some of you that are new to the cipher, I had some kidney stones last year and wind up having 3 procedures to try to get rid of them. So I'm trying to avoid that, A, because of all the radiation involved, and B, because I think all it did was break these stones up and I didn't pass them all. So I think this is some residual stuff going on. But enough about my health. I hope you guys are feeling well. I hope you got your Christmas shopping done. If you want to know what you can give me, I'm going to have a membership drive far as YouTube is concerned. So if you're my Facebook friend, I urge you to go to YouTube. I'm going to post my every day I'm going to post my YouTube link. And what I'd like to do going into 2021, I'd like to add, I've got over 1,600. I trimmed it down, but I've got over 1,600 Facebook friends and family. Therefore, I should have at least 200 to 300 YouTube followers, and I don't have that now. So I'm asking you guys to make the difference, get into it, and you'll make me happy. That's all I want for Christmas. I already got my front. Yeah, I got my front tee. So back to the matter at hand. I may be a little slow tonight because this Flexeril is no joke. If you know me, you know I don't like to do drugs. So anything that clouds my judgment on my head and affects the voices is bad news. But I'm going to just move on. How many times can one man lose the same election in 60 days? We don't know. He's still losing. We're still counting. It's probably easier for me to tell you how many licks it takes to get to the Tootsie Roll center of the Tootsie Pop. Yeah, I know it's a generational joke for those people over 50. I call them the Geritol gang, but I don't even know if they make Geritol anymore. So just give you an idea. I'm probably going to be as host as Joe was the other night, so just bear with me. Since there appears to be a Scrooge in the White House, tonight we're going to talk about the last 11 months in past, present, and future. We're going to talk about what happened last 11 months. We're going to talk about what's happening right now. And through my strong Creole powers, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in 2021. This was a momentous week for a lot of reasons, both good and bad. First of all, we had COVID kill more than 300,000 Americans in the same week that we saw a vaccine be approved and rolled out to healthcare workers and those that are deemed most vulnerable in nursing homes and what have you. So I just want to take a solemn moment and say condolences to the family who lost a loved one and those who lost their lives. May they rest in peace. Amen. As we look back at 2020 and review, we're going to look at some of the predictions that I made early in the year and see how they came to fruition or they came true. Then we'll talk about 19 attorney generals, 126 U.S. congressmen, and one Michigan state representative, and how that equals 9-0. Then we're also going to talk about how despicable Donnie in his delusional head has mesmerized people and hijacked the Republican Party and is now holding it for ransom. We might even discuss a little bit, I might mention the power vacuum that's probably going to exist. And I don't know, these people that just seem to find it easier to hate than trying to be one cohesive America. But I think that would be in a perfect world. And then finally, like I said, we're going to talk about my Creole powers and my predictions for 2021. Tonight's show is called 2020 Hindsight, Past, Present, and the Future. Let's do this. First thing I want to talk about is Stacey Abrams. I call her the informal governor of Georgia. Here's a woman who has a future so bright she has to wear sunshades and tinted lenses, whatever these call. I want to talk about Stacey because I think she really should get the Woman of the Year award. Despite Kamala becoming the first African American vice president, I really think Stacey Abrams needs to be mentioned, recognized, and given praise, mainly because this woman was cheated out of a gubernatorial post back in 2018. Instead of becoming angry and bitter and sulking, stirring up hate, taking a ball and leaving the playground, she almost single-handedly turned the state of Georgia Biden blue. Think about that. That's an amazing accomplishment. And then she was passed over for the VP post on Biden's ticket. And she mounted a grassroots campaign and used her political powers to get Biden and Harris elected. She's worked harder than me. But all jokes aside, Abrams has worked tirelessly to unite all Georgians and focus on what's best for the state of Georgia and ultimately what's best for the United States. So my final note on Stacey Abrams, I say, let's make sure that her work is not in vain. Remember to vote blue on January the 5th. If you live in Georgia, vote blue. Joe, Kamala, Georgia, the state of Georgia, and America will profit most. And this is the only way we can nullify Moscow Mish. Moving on. If I had to sum up 2020, the only thing I could come up that reminds me of this year would be frivolous and has no merit. In the latest episode of Despicable, Delusional Donnie, Trumpled Thin Skin, in his Bill Murray Groundhog Day type coup attempt, Sources closest to him said that Donnie is throwing a temper tantrum and he's threatening not to leave the White House. Fuck out of here. I say he should use the money that he's still collecting from his minions and pay the mortgage on Trump Towers or go to Mar-a-Lago. Speaking as one of the taxpayers who's paid the mortgage on Mar-a-Lago for the last 4 years, as Roberto Duran said to Sugar Ray Leonard, no mas, no mas. Get the fuck out. Next, I have a 2020 new mat problem. What do you get if you add 19 attorney generals plus 126 U.S. Republican congressmen and one state, Michigan state representative? The answer? One Supreme Court ruling 9-0. Who is Ken Paxton? No need to remember. The FBI and the SEC will be the only ones who will remember his name after January. They will be looking for him. He's being sought for insider trading or securities trading, and he's been being pursued by the FBI for misuse of campaign funds. So, ha. But speaking of frivolous and having no merit, let's talk about Lindsay the Leash. Lindsay the Leash Graham. So what you gonna do now, Lindsay? There's no John McCain, and pretty soon there'll be no Despicable Donnie to follow. So you've got 5 years. You just got reelected. Senators are elected for 6 years. So you got 5 years to get your shit together and find out how you're gonna redefine yourself. My only advice to you is be careful of who you hitch your wagon to, Lindsay. Had the audacity to get on TV and say any Republican not getting off their ass. You need to get off your ass and get on the right bus. All I have to say about, I'm going to leave Lindsay alone. Those 19 attorney generals, that 126 Republican congressmen, and that one Michigan state thing needs to be done. Those people hitch themselves to delusional Donnie's coup attempt, and there should be consequences for their action. Otherwise, let's call it what it is, folks. This was a true conspiracy that nobody talked about. Instead of everyone discussing this conspiracy, they're talking about conspiracy theories of nano devices and the COVID vaccination. Let's talk about this 3,000-pound gorilla that's in the room. Seriously, a message must be sent so that the next time the co-conspirators don't go further. They're going to get more emboldened. They're going to get braver. They're going to get more outlandish. Moving on. I promise I'm not going to go off. Flexeril, do your work. Meanwhile, all 50 states in D.C. certified their respective elections. And the delegates voted 306 to 230 for Joe Biden. Joe, in his 50-11 victory speech, said, and I quote, 4 years ago, when Trump was awarded 306 electoral votes, he called it a landslide, even though he did not win the popular vote. 7 million more Americans voted for me. So I guess I can call this a landslide as well. Unquote. I agree. Now somebody give Joe a lozenge. He sounds like he's tired of giving victory speeches. Out of nowhere came Hillary Rodham Clinton, and she said something that made a lot of sense. She said it's time to get rid of the Electoral College. I agree. I may get back to that a little later, but let me just say this. After hearing Joe's 50-11 victory speech, I know Trump will thin skin, pull out his little wee wee. He pissed on the carpet, he pissed on the floor, he pissed on the wall, he stole some more silverware. I said, let's get an art expert in there and make sure that these pictures on the wall are authentic because he's stealing them as we speak, or so I think. No wonder they're up in there partying like it's 1999. It appears that Joe Biden, President-elect Biden, has gotten tired of taking the high road. Sometimes I guess being petty is good for your mental health. I'm just saying, let him have it. I've been telling you since 2017 that Joe Biden was the antidote to this hate monger we refer to as Donald J. Trump. 7 months ago, I told you like the Electoral College caucuses were outdated. Imagine if Iowa chose the Democratic nominee. Now we'd all be crying, we'd be praying, and we'd be prepping ourselves for 4 more years of Despicable Donnie and Moscow Mitch, a 1-2 punch to our pocketbook and to the American Constitution that we just can't take 4 more years of. Millions of seniors would be trying to survive while Social Security and Medicare was being gutted. Social programs that the richest 1% of Americans call entitlements would become non-existent, and we'd be staring at an additional 750,000 deaths as a result of COVID. I talked about Hillary. I said this before, and now that she said, I'm going to echo it. She said that it's time to do away with the Electoral College and rely solely on the popular vote. I agree because the President of the United States is the only office in America that's chosen by the Electoral Colleges. Caucuses and the Electoral College are outdated. It's time for them to go. Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. Bye. Last thing I'm going to say about this. When I think about how these programs would be gutted, I also think about being a veteran myself and some of the issues I have as a result of being in the Marine Corps. And I'm thinking about how the medical system has suffered because we have a commander in chief who says that PTSD is a joke. He also said that traumatic brain injury is no more than headaches. He says that we're cowards and we're suckers. More importantly, now he's threatening to defund the military budget. I'm going to be glad. I'm going to be doing a jig, and I can't tap dance, but I'm going to be dancing my butt off on January the 20th. And I might just find my way to DC. I don't care how cold it is, and mask up and find something so that I could be on the mall. But moving on. Beating COVID. Every time I think about this as a healthcare professional, it hits me because the first job, and I said this before, so I'm gonna just remind some people, the very first job I had in medicine was working at LSU Medical Center. I was working for a virologist and ophthalmologist. She had me injecting rabbits with the herpes simplex 2 virus, Dr. Yoselina Centofanto. Woman was brilliant. But I know how painstaking research is. And as a result of that, this week we've seen 2 vaccinations come to fruition, while conspiracy theories abound. I'm still skeptical because I'm a scientist I'm a scientist at heart. She promoted me because I was working above my pay grade. And when she challenged me, I was going through some experiments in a medical book. And she says, "Where'd you learn how to do that?" I said, "It was in the book." She says, "But it's a medical book." I said, "No, it's a science book and it's in English. Go figure." So I've always been skeptical. I've never accepted things at face value. I've always had an intellectual curiosity that challenged the norms. And that's the reason why I just need more data before I succumb to this. But if the alternative is 750,000 more dead Americans, then I say, let's roll the dice. I'm skeptical, but I pray to God that God has guided the scientists in their research and we can eradicate this plague we call coronavirus and COVID 19, 20, and 21. The last time I checked the numbers, folks, was about 12 noon. And as of 12 noon today, all they kept talking about was yesterday being the deadliest day thus far. And over 3,600 and close to 3,650 people died in just one day. That's more people again. That's more people than died all in all three places on 9/11. They were talking about 17,011,532 total cases, and that was noon. So that was about 7.5 hours ago. They were talking about 308,098 deaths as of noon. So that was 7 hours ago, 7.5 hours ago. So I know that those numbers are no longer valid. As I said before, folks, I can't tell you what to do. It's hurting me. I post pictures of my grandkids, my granddaughters. Um, it's hurting me because right now I feel like a remote control. It's bad enough I was a remote control dad, but now I'm a remote control big papa grandfather. If we sacrifice our large family gatherings this Christmas, Big Mama and Big Papa will be here. Those of you that have pre-existing conditions, you will be here. And together we can celebrate. After we get this thing under control, we can celebrate Thanksgiving in 2021, 2022, Christmas in 2021, Christmas 2022, and beyond. So, folks, I said it before and I'm going to keep on saying it. We beat the bully. So I know we can beat COVID. But it's going to take sacrifices and it's going to take a collective group effort from all of us. So I'm going to try to wrap this up. Let me just go back to my Creole powers. Kind of fuzzy now with the Flexoril, but I'm going to make some predictions. Some of these I made last week, and I'm going to keep reminding you. This is the last time I'm going to remind you, but I'm going to post them on my page. My predictions for 2021. My first prediction, it's a no-brainer. Delusional Donnie will continue to be eternally bitter, bitter, and more bitter to the bitter end. Bitter Donnie, delusional, despicable, Trumple thin-skinned Donnie will not, I repeat, will not be at the inauguration. That's a no-brainer. Instead, he's going to hold a rally. He may hold a party. Now, according to sources, he may barricade himself in the White House. Go figure. My next prediction. His children are going to be on an airplane headed to some country with a non-extradition treaty with America. Just in case those so-called pardons don't work, there will be power struggles in both parties. Every Republican will be vying to be the new hate monger in charge. I see now in the state of Georgia where this Kelly woman, and I won't even say her last name because I didn't want to give her press, she's starting to use the code words in the same verbiage that Trump used, that Reagan used. So this is nothing new. What set me off on this journey was, and I'm going to say it one more time, I was writing a book on the paradigm shift in public policy since the Reagan administration. And I saw the parallels between what Reagan did and what delusional, despicable Donnie tried to do. So that was one of the reasons why I started doing this podcast. Both vaccines will be approved. There will still be some skepticism until there is a shortage. When they say that there is a shortage, the public is going to respond by everybody wanting to have a vaccination, even those that may be at risk right now. It's going to become the hottest ticket since Air Jordans were released the last time you guys got your stimulus checks. Nancy will fight tooth and nail to hold on to the gavel as another power struggle within the Democratic Party weakens the party. Joe's going to have to go up there and show his butt and say, y'all need to cool your butts. Pass the gavel. So we'll see if Nancy gives up the gavel first or if Trump leaves the White House first. Who knows? My next prediction. Despicable Donnie will continue to hold rallies to try to remain relevant. He's going to sound like the Terminator, I'll be back. And his minions are going to continue to give them their "the South will rise again" money. Despicable Donnie will continue to strong arm the Republican parties and every candidate that he can. He will try to pardon everybody, his associates, his family, and himself, while Mitch will vie to gain control of the Republican Party. He thinks he's next in line. The Republicans, on the other hand, will try their best to integrate these hope mongers, these hate mongers, these poor people who don't have anything but the white privilege. They'll try to integrate them into the Republican Party. Who knows? I don't think Trump is going to let him go. So look for the power-hungry Democratic neophytes, on the other hand, to fight tooth and nail to gain party control over, and we may lose the majority in the House as a result. This is the one that I really hope that I'm wrong. I really hope that somewhere we can get in line and not lose the majority in the House. But I remind you again that in the House of Representatives, representatives are only elected for 2 years, which means in 2022, there's going to be another upheaval and we may lose the House. Fox News, on the other hand, is going to try to exploit the Dem infighting and try to ignore the vacuum power, a vacuum for power that exists within the Republican Party. So remember that. Of all of those predictions, remember you heard it first here. So when Chris Cuomo, Don Lemon, my homeboy, and Rachel Maddow talks about it, remember who said it first. That's all I got for you tonight, folks. My Flexeril is wearing off. I got to go take another pill. So with that, I'm going to say again, my moms used to always say, give people their flowers while they could still spell them. And I thought that meant literal flowers. And it wasn't until I became a man that I realized that what she said, what she was saying was show people you love them while they can still hear it. Standing over someone's casket and saying, "Why, Lord, why take me? Why it had to be them? And I love you," means nothing. So if you want to show your man love, if you want to give me something for Christmas, go to my YouTube, sign up. I've cut my numbers, and I hate to think of anybody as dead weight because I know I can't keep up with 1,600 people. But if I got 1,600 followers on Facebook, I should have at least 250 on YouTube. So go to my YouTube. I'm going to post. I'm going to post. I'm going to post the link. Click on the link, hit subscribe, and then ring that little bell. That's going to let you know every time I'm on. To my YouTube people, much love. To everybody else, thank you for rocking with me. It's been about 20 months now that we've been doing this. I'm honored that you decide to spend your Thursday night with me. I'm going to say it the same way I said it last week and every week. I will see you, not next week. I will see you next year, somewhere around the second week of January, because both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve fall on a Thursday. I know you're not going to be doing these big family gatherings, but I know you're not going to want to spend it with me. So I'm going to tell you this. I will see you. I will see you in the next year, right here. Same Baptiste time, same Baptiste place. As always, important, love my people, peace, and like your man, fresh hair grease. I'm out of here. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families. Happy holidays, much love, so forth and so on. Later. See ya.